Hey everybody, today we switched roles here. I'm on the interview side. Pastor Zach's answering questions about his new release book, The Father Code. It's amazing. It's codes of a connected father. And we talked about how there's no such thing as a perfect father, but you can learn to be a connected father. You excited for your book?
Oh, so excited.
Yes.
So excited.
And we talked about how good it is for men to have community, what this means to be connected to your kids, but also being with friends as you do it.
Yes.
Also,
and the importance that of somebody reading it who might not be a biological father, but the role of leadership in men in our society.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the book will be out soon, and that's it. Well, hey, Zach.
Hey, darling.
Hi, honey. I'm excited to be on this side of the table today.
Yeah.
For a table talk episode.
Yes. You're the interviewer.
I love it. On something I'm really excited to talk about today.
Yeah. I prefer that side because I like asking questions.
I know. And I prefer that side.
Because you like answering them?
Yeah, I can answer them, but coming up with them is really hard. So I hope that
you'll do fine.
This will go good. But I'm really, really excited to talk about something that I have seen you work on, and not only just work on, but live out, is The Father Code, your book. Mm-hmm. And how does this feel to finally have it here, or at least almost here?
Well, this is a proof copy.
Yes.
So that's why the bar is across there. It's going to be published here pretty soon.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Good. I think as I look at writing as an art. Mm-hmm. And anytime you put something out there, you're subjecting yourself to the ridicule or potential to somebody, who isn't doing that.
Right.
Putting their art out there.
Sure.
Which is interesting.
I love how you call it an art, because it really is, right?
Yes.
It really is an art.
Wordsmithing and inspiration and how do you use words to inspire action.
Right.
Yeah.
You're a fantastic writer.
Oh, thank you.
I love reading anything that you write.
Thank you.
So good.
Thank you.
And you've, and we'll get, I'll ask some questions.
It's ultimately like what I feel is, it's going to supplement my calling as a pastor.
Sure.
I feel long-term, it's the legacy that I'll one day leave behind.
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen with digital sermons and whatever, but I do feel like I can, as if I can articulate better in written form than I can oratory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Have you always enjoyed writing? And
yeah, I think I was a little bit more. I think I was a little bit more inward. I have outward expressions. I would say I'm an ambivert, right? I love to be with people, get filled up with people.
Sure.
But also I have my fill, and I need to be completely alone.
Sure.
To get filled up again. It's really interesting. So I kind of go back and forth. With that, as a kid, I was always very outgoing. However, was also very inward and reflective.
Sure.
And that's just how the Lord made me. And sometimes my fingers, as I type, can get my thoughts out more clearly than my words. And I think it's because my words sometimes slow me down. I speak very fast, right? Mm-hmm. You notice that.
So writing, you can get all your thoughts
Writing,
out.
I could just get it out. And as I'm like reading it and seeing it, it just comes. And then I can go back, obviously, and edit and say, oh, no, that didn't come out right.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I believe this book is really going to help fathers.
I hope so.
Really help dads and inspire. And I'm really excited for people to get their hands on it.
Yeah.
Because how important do you think fatherhood is? I want to read the back of the book too, because I feel like that's, I want to read this and then just be thinking about how important you think fatherhood is in our culture right now.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So I love this so much. This brought me to tears whenever I first read this, but there's no such thing as a perfect father, but you can learn to be a connected father. Mm-hmm. It's a powerful phrase. I'm going to say that again. There's no such thing as a perfect father, but you can learn to be a connected father. Mm-hmm. And I guess those are two different things, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we can talk about that. Many fathers find their ability to be connected father is not as innate as their child's desire to have a connected father. The Father Code is written to fathers. This code of ethics helps fathers close the gap between their ability to connect and their child's desire for connection. And there's, I can't read over the thing here, but it says unforgettable stories of men who pursued the art of intentional connection.
Yeah.
Will inspire you to overcome your limitations by learning the father code. It's time to give your children the greatest gift you can give them, which is you. Mm-hmm. And I have seen you do this time and time again with our kids. You know, you give them the greatest gift, and that's you. That's their attention, your love for them. You're not perfect, but connected.
Far from it. Yeah.
But connected. So can you talk about for a minute what that first phrase means? There's no such thing as a perfect father, but you can learn to be a connected father. Is there a big difference between the two?
I think the idea of a perfect father is a complete myth. There is no perfection apart from Jesus himself. He was perfection. And he allows us, to take on his perfection, but that doesn't exude itself in our parenting. We're going to mess up, so a result of the sinful nature that we have. And, sometimes we flip our lid, we overcorrect, we undercorrect, we don't live out the example that we want our kids to live by, in our own character. But one of the chapters in this is that if we aren't an example in everyday life, we can be one in repentance. And what that actually means. And what I've done in this is I've taken stories of men throughout the years who've inspired me to be a better father, an intentionally connected father. And I realized that those men, they weren't perfect fathers. Every one of them would tell you, I made so many mistakes.
And hear the stories,
all the stories that you'll see in it. I mean, this is 20 years of youth ministry, and 20 years of, and now 13 years of parenting,
right?
And the new journey that we're currently on. There's little voices in the background right now.
Oh, sweet little sweet voices. I know.
And
the foster and adoptive.
I'm not an expert at being. I'm not trying to write a manual.
This is how you be a perfect father.
That's not even possible.
Right. It's
all
impossible.
I want to do is inspire intentional connection. Because I've seen throughout the years the intentional connection change the lives of students we pastored.
Wow.
I tell the story in the book of one gentleman, and I changed names and I changed details and all of that because I want to create anonymity, for children and, for the child and for the parent, right? But, I remember one of our students had deep suicidal thoughts and turned out had an insufficiency in dopamine and in serotonin. And so that's the ability to connect, and it's the ability to enjoy, those two, brain was not producing that. And so I asked this student, what helped you to stay alive?
Yeah.
And she said it was her connection with her father.
Wow.
She said, I could never do that to my father.
Wow.
Because he loves me so much.
Yep.
And we're so connected.
So that connection saved her life.
Was stronger than a chemical imbalance.
Wow.
And that, I think, when I started to see that in real time.
Yes.
We see, you asked even earlier, the connection, the power of connection. I started to see, I think it was in 2008 to 2010, somewhere around there was a census that went out. It was a U.S. census, and it showed these are the opportunities that children who, I'll put it this way, children who have an engaged father in the home, statistically,
not a perfect father, right? But engaged father.
But statistically, make it further, faster, more confidently.
Wow.
And children without are at a clear disadvantage.
Yeah.
And it's clear. And that burdens my heart for our society, because there are children, I think it's, at that point, it was 70% of inner city children were without a father in the home, right? And we also see the crime rate up and all of those things that in those same areas, I think it has everything to do with a connected father.
A connected father.
I think it has everything to do with that. And now I've also seen the opposite, though. And I've seen single moms raise wonderful boys, wonderful girls, and they're killing it. They're doing awesome. Right? So it's not like a one size fits all.
Yeah, of course.
Okay?
I'm
There's
glad
no
you
dishonor
clarified.
there.
Yeah.
And then I've also seen, I've also seen great parents have deep struggles with their children that they didn't ask for. And it's like, it looks like you did everything right.
Some of that is unavoidable either way, right? Because
they say,
on this side I have,
they say nature holds a gun. Nurture pulls a trigger, right? You can have a genetic predisposition toward a certain set of beliefs or behaviors or those types of things. The way that you're raised has something to do with it, but your environment isn't all based on your parents.
Right.
That child could have experienced trauma outside of the parents' care when it was an appropriate time for them to be outside of the parents' care.
Yeah. There's so much at parenting.
It's complex.
It's outside of our control, and it is complex. Yes.
Yeah.
But having resources like this does really help us, shape us, inspire us.
Right.
Try to be more connected.
Right. Yes.
And you do such a phenomenal job with our kids at that. And that's why I love that you wrote a book about it, because it's something that you are so intentional about. And I feel like you can write a book about that. You know what I mean? Because so what's your hope for this book? Like what is if you could say this is a win of the Father Code, what would you say is a win?
Well,
is that a good question?
It's a great question because I just got a little frog in my throat thinking about it. So it's a great question. I see so many men without personal friendship and connection.
Sure.
I think one of the goals of my life is just to be a good friend. That's it.
You are.
Yeah. And so I can't offer that to everyone.
Sure.
But what I've realized is that most men will only have 3 to 5 strong relationships in their life that they can share everything with. Okay.
Yeah.
The opening of the book points to that.
Sure.
What is a true relationship?
Yes.
Just thinking about my friend Andrew and my friend Nate and my friend Matt and my friend Doug and my other friend Matt. And, just God has blessed me with great friends.
Right.
Even here on staff, I get to work with my friends.
I know.
With Ben and Brian. I'm like, this is wonderful.
Yes.
God usually brings 3 to 5 men who are, we say reason, season, destiny.
Sure.
Like destiny relationships.
Destiny people, yes.
And what I would love for men to do is to read this book in the context of those relationships and hold each other accountable to the code of ethics that we lay out in this book.
Yes.
And by we, I'm saying thank you to an amazing editor, Rachel Hills.
Yes.
She's wonderful. She really, honestly though, I was so insecure about verbiage and everything. She just helped me be confident in putting it out. And she changed things that were no, that's my heart. Way to go.
Yes.
So I would love to see men read this together and hold each other accountable to the code of ethics. And really all these are values.
Just values, right?
Very
Father
simple values and stories and that
they're
living
not
out these
unattainable.
values. No.
They're very practical.
No. And we have to say this, right?
Yeah.
This should not take a long time to read it all.
Yeah, I mean,
it was
you did
never
it perfectly.
The goal.
Yes. I mean, it has a good, but it's not too much where it's going to be overwhelming.
It took me 3 hours.
Yes.
When I did the Audible.
Yes.
I'm drinking your coffee too.
That's fine. That's fine. No, it's perfect. I feel like it's the perfect size.
Yeah, man, we don't have time.
Yeah,
we're like, show me the baby, don't tell me about the delivery. So we just, here's the baby, and then you do with it what you want.
I love it. That's awesome. So going back to this, pretty much your goal would be sit down or read it together with,
in the context
of 3 or 5 of your good buddies, and just help keep each other connected to their kids.
Yeah.
Because it's easy. Is it easy to not be?
100%, right? I think a lot of men cheat on their families through their jobs. May not be a sexual relationship with another woman, but they're cheating on their families with their job, or they're cheating on their families with their hobby.
Right.
And it's like, hey,
just because it's a little bit, why? What is that?
Well, we want to avoid the stress of it.
The stressful.
Honestly, it takes men about 15 minutes of transition time once they come home and then when we come home and our kids are young and they're screaming and running all over the place after we've had a demanding day at the construction site or in the office.
Right.
You're like, give me a break.
I can't do this.
Here.
Yeah, I need a break.
Yeah.
Sure.
And when the children are difficult to connect to.
Sure. Because not all kids,
it's overwhelming.
All kids just receive the connection.
Right.
Will they just want that connect? Well, most kids want that. Or do you have to, every kid is kind of uniquely different in some ways?
Right. Well, I would say this. I think every person's story is different. Every father has a different story.
Sure.
So the way that the father connected may have been healthy, but it may not have been. Right. And so what I've seen is too many men say, I'm not going to do this, but not have a vision.
Got it. So
I am going to do this.
So it's got to be more than just, I'm not going to be this way.
Yeah.
You've got to say, this is these are my goals, kind of, or this is what I want to aim for.
Yeah, this is what I'm aiming for.
It's my legacy.
And so that's what I wanted to lay out.
I love it.
And show examples of that.
Yeah.
Because I've just, my dad was just so disconnected. He was just so disconnected. Okay, well, what are you doing
Right.
to change that?
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so we don't give here's what you need to do now. Do this, take your kids on a, that's not what we're doing.
And they'll be connected. Yeah, right.
It's just, you need to answer that.
Right.
What does your child need?
Yes.
Because every child is different.
So uniquely different. Oh my
each of our
goodness.
children,
It's
3.
so wild. I know. They're all so different. They'll have different needs. And yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think, this can be an overwhelming thought for dads, for fathers?
What would the thought be?
Just to think, how do I do this? I have to stay connected to my kids, and I have a lot on my plate. And is it easier than we're
making it?
Than we're making it.
Or
is that a hard question?
No, it's not. In one of the opening chapters, it's like, you got to count the cost of this. Mm-hmm. Jesus said it himself, where who would build a house without first counting the cost?
Sure.
Oh, there's a cost to it, but the cost of not connecting is much greater.
So good.
Yeah, it's much greater.
The cost of not connecting is so much greater.
It's so much greater. And we see that. Statistically, we see that behaviorally.
Yes.
And in that, I was talking to my good friend, Matt, the other day. I have 2 really good friends, Matts, and I just talked with them both the other day, right? Because we talk a lot. But Matt Crummy, he helped you by correcting our son. Mm-hmm. He was not acting. He was just acting crazy. That's all he was. It wasn't like he was being horrible. But
he was. That moment was a little bit
You were
hectic.
overwhelmed, and you were clearly overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. I wasn't there, and Matt stepped in and he said, "Hey,
don't
stop
do that."
it."
Yeah.
And so when I said thank you to him, he was like, "Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare him or anything like that." And I was like, "No,
it was good. It was fatherly correction that he needed.
You're my good friend,
right?
And I invite you to speak into my kids' lives,
right?
And so there's an aspect here of a community of people.
Yes.
Like older generations will say, when I was a kid, anybody could just spank me. Like I would be bad, and some guy would just paddle me. I'm like, that's a little too far. Yeah, they're like at the Busy Beaver Kmart or something like that, like running up and down the aisle. Guy grabs him, whoops him, says, "Hey, I just spanked him." And the dad was like, "Thanks."
Do you think that really happened?
I've heard that story multiple times from multiple people, so I think it did. I think it did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not big on paddling altogether. I'm just not. I think there's a better way to connect with your kids. I think we talk about discipline in this, and just making sure that your kids, it's the goal of discipline is actually connection.
Right.
It's not necessarily correction.
Yeah.
You should be more connected to your child at the other end of the discipline.
Yeah.
And I think there's just a smarter way to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying to abandon ship altogether. Again,
yeah,
everybody has their own values, but
yes.
it has to be healthy.
Yes.
But we were taught the other way.
Yeah.
We were like, spank them for disobedience.
Right,
we're like, everything they do is disobedience. So we have to spank them 10 times a day. And I found myself apologizing to our firstborn because I was so tough on him because of what we were taught.
Right.
And that's where I'm like,
there's a healthy balance of everything.
And that's the inspiration of this.
Yes.
It's like, connect.
Yes.
Just connect.
Yes.
And
yes, and when you connect with them, usually you see those behaviors out of a heart to please a good father.
Right.
There's
it's
a
relationship.
Heart of obedience. I mean, not.
Well,
there's still those moments. We have to.
What hurt more sometimes? Sometimes when your dad was like, "I'm really disappointed."
Totally.
In you. That hurt more than a paddle.
Yeah, especially because if you had that.
I was
good
like, paddle, bring it. I'm disappointed in you. Like, oh no.
No. Right. Yes. Yeah. So good. I am just incredibly, incredibly proud of you. I had one more question that I written down.
Well, thank you, honey.
Written down. Let me see.
Thank you.
What would you say was your biggest challenge writing the book? Do you feel like, some people just say, "Oh yeah, I wrote a book."
Yeah.
Because this has been in your heart for how many years now? I mean, it's been in your heart for a lot of years, I feel like, right?
10.
10 years.
Yeah. Well, I remember when our oldest Noah was born.
Yeah.
I remember my parents telling me, well, there was no manual to raising you. And I'm like, well, somebody needs to make one of those.
Yeah, can we
Then I
have
started to realize how difficult making a manual because of the complexities we talked about already.
Right.
How difficult that would be, right?
Yeah.
So I had this in my heart, God put this in my heart, I believe, 10 years ago. And the complexities that I faced throughout the project were, number one, I'm not an expert.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And so somebody actually said to me, how can you write a book on this if you're in the middle of parenting? When did James Dobson start Focus on the Family? I want to know that.
Yeah, it's a great
Just
question.
because I was young and I had to overcome that, just because I was young, didn't mean I didn't know what I was talking about.
Right.
Because we've worked with kids for 20 years now.
Right.
And, as I went back to it, every time I went back to it, I'm like, I want to change this. Oh, I want to change this. Oh, I want to change this. And that's where having the right editor really helped me. Rachel really helped me. Like, no, you can do this.
Yeah.
This is good. I'm like, oh, it just gave me the confidence. So I think it was just the confidence aspect of it overall.
Yeah.
And that hit on multiple angles. It was just the confidence of putting it out there. I really believe in it. I really believe in what we're doing.
Yep. Me too.
And I think that if men get a hold of this, I really think it's going to help them. I'm not trying to sell 1 million copies. I just
trying to
if
help
I can inspire one dad,
good fathers. Yeah, that's right.
Like if I can inspire one man to do for that student, with the father who taught me and told me the stories of his intentional connection, how he'd built that.
Sure.
I asked him specifically later.
Yeah.
And I have it in here.
Yeah.
What did he do? If I can just inspire one man and save one kid's life.
So good, Z.
Yes. And help one kid be more confident,
Yes.
That's what I care about. And I think ultimately that ties into the love of the Father.
Yes.
Right. Freely we've received, freely we give.
As we understand the love of the Father, we're able to give that more.
Yeah. Yeah. So
would you recommend this book to anybody that's like not a dad? Like, do you think dads that maybe don't, or men that don't have the opportunity for biological kids, or spiritual dads, or like pulling someone under your wing, you know what I mean? Even like,
of course,
that role is so important.
Yeah.
If you're not a father yet, just to be able to be connected to people that need their arm, somebody put their arm around them and just show them the love of God.
In the very beginning, I write a thank you to men who are fathers to me. It's not just my biological father.
Right.
It's my Uncle Dave, who never had biological children.
That's right.
But he put his arm around me.
He sure did.
When I was a teenager and I needed it most.
Yep.
And that's where I just
he was
want to.
Connected to you, right?
He cared.
He cared.
He cared. He led me to Christ, and I wouldn't be anywhere.
Right.
I wouldn't be anywhere.
Right.
Well,
I'm glad you shared
I know where
that.
I'd be, and it's not good.
Right.
And that's where I think
it's powerful.
Many men have. One time I had the privilege of officiating a wedding for a couple that's near and dear to our heart. And she had 2 dads who walked her down the aisle. She said, well, my father's going to be on my right side and my daddy's going to be on my left. And I was like, what's that mean? And she said, well, anybody can be a father, but not anybody can be a daddy.
Yeah.
Her biological father was her father, but he abandoned them, he left them.
Sure.
And it was very hard to reform that relationship.
Sure.
And she admittedly searched to fill that void throughout her life. But on her left side, her daddy came into her life later. And he's her stepfather, but that's her daddy because he connected with her.
He connected with her.
So stepfathers, men who are,
Spiritual
a father figure.
Father figure,
to,
right. To young people.
To young people.
Whatever, yeah.
Yes. Spiritual people who are in spiritual leadership, and they're like, I have this feeling of like a father to some of these kids, an older person serving in youth ministry, a younger man serving in youth ministry, and we can take that a little bit too far, that extreme too far, by the way. It's like, I'm your spiritual dad. And I'm, like,
oh my gosh. Well, anything
somebody said that to me one time. They're like, I'm your spiritual father. I'm like, no, you're not.
No.
Like, you don't even know how I was born.
Yeah.
That's a true story.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, pastor circles can be weird sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and, anything can be messed up or defied. It can be twisted.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like,
it can be taken too far.
Yeah.
There's healthy balances to everything, I'm sure. But that's good. I'm glad we hit on that, that you don't have to be a father to read the father code.
Right. Right.
Even just being a connected
because you can be a
person.
father figure.
Right.
You can be a spiritual father. And all those principles apply. It's very broad.
I love it. I love it. Well done, Z. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Some blood, sweat, and tears in this book.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you.
Yep.
Codes of a Connected Father. I'm just going to read that last sentence again.
Yep.
There is no such thing as a perfect father, but you can learn to be a connected father. Mm-hmm. How awesome.
Yep.
Congrats.
So the Father Code.
Father Code.
Yep. We have it live on thefathercodebook.com.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thefathercodebook.com.
Yeah.
So people can, when will they be able to grab a copy? Before Father's Day.
Well, this is all, before
This is
Father's Day.
perfect because they can get
before
copies
Father's Day.
for.
Yeah, and on the bottom of the website, I have an email subscription.
Okay.
I'm just going to send some encouragement to men.
Awesome.
Great. Once a month.
Love it.
Something like that.
Love it.
Have some guest writers every once in a while.
Great.
But tips to keep that engagement with your kids going.
That connected.
Yeah,
heart.
but it's on Amazon.
Okay.
We'll have it on Audible.
Okay, great.
Audible takes a little bit to upload. They
Okay.
have a process that's kind of unpredictable.
Okay.
But Kindle version should be up any moment.
Great.
And the soft copy here is going to be up within the next 2 days.
Great.
Yeah.
So when people get to see this.
As of right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably up by now.
Yeah. I was going to say it probably is. Okay, great.
Fathercodebook.com.
So they can get the books for Father's Day and give them to their family members. And,
Yep.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Even if it's for help one father out.
Yeah,
right?
we're going to be going over. I'm going to be going through this on Father's Day at Hill City as well.
Great.
And
Awesome.
anything that I sell there, all the profits I'm just going to donate toward our building fund.
Awesome. Love it.
Yep.
Hear the little voices in the background speaking
Yeah, we
up.
hear them. Yep.
Awesome.
Time to go help.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah.
We're so glad that you got to be here with us and got to talk to Zach Blair about the Father Code, how to be not a perfect father, but you can learn to be a connected father. Thanks for watching with us, and make sure you grab a copy
Listen
of
to
the
those
book.
voices. I hope
Listen to the
they can
voices.
hear it.
I know.
Yeah.
We love you guys.
Yep.
Thanks
See you
for
guys.
watching.